Hey guys, it's Mark from Erickson Machine and Performance. Today we're going to go through prop pitch and pitching impellers, how to do it. So, Happy New Year, and let's get started. Alright guys, want to start off by saying Happy New Year to everybody. I know it's been about a month since I put out a video. Just been a crazy year. I took a little time with the family. But this is going to be one of the first videos of the year. We're going to go through repitching an impeller. And basically what it is, a couple things you should know. Impellers are almost a tricky art form. And a lot of people get really confused on what pitch, what size, things like that. These two props are Yamaha freestyle impellers. This is a Cowie. The one thing you need to know though is what brand the impeller is matters. So Scat Track uses a very thin blade. They also use this, which some companies call it a race finish. It's actually to give the water more grip. It works great. But if you see the thickness of the blade, let me bring these in. I don't know if you can tell, but the Solus is significantly thicker than the Scat Track. So for example, Solus is here, around 110 thousandths. And the Scat at the thickest is about 80. So what does that do? So a lot of times you'll see a Scat Track prop and it'll be significantly higher pitched. The higher pitch is because of the thinness of the blade. So like a 10-15 Solus would be similar to like a 12-17 Scat Track. Where that gets tricky is there's small hub props and there's large hub props. So if you see the two, so this is an OEM style 144 prop. This is a C75 or Scat Track Mag large hub prop. And I believe this is a 148. Yeah, and it's a 148. So this is the prop we're actually repitching today. And what is blade pitch? All it is the actual angle. So technically you can use something as simple as this and get a rough idea, is right around 12 degrees, or you can use a product like John from Watcon. He makes these pitch rings, which these are really, really great for checking props. So all you do, slide the prop in, and you just rotate it around until you see the line that it lines up with. So I'm just going to I'll take a picture of it and put it in the video, but I'm just going to kind of set it in place. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it lines up perfectly with the 12. Same thing with the 17. Now the tricky thing with that is not all props are what they say. So this prop came, and we're going to repitch it, but it says it's a 614. It's actually, I think I measured it in 812. Yeah. So, it's also a tricky thing. So just because there's a certain number on it doesn't mean that's what it is. Degrees don't lie. So what we'll end up doing, and one important thing, so we'll take this at a certain point. So I'll mark all the blades, and then we'll check the height. I normally do this on my surface plate, but to do it how you guys would do it at home, and also my surface plate's in the corner, it's hard to videotape, I'm just going to do it on my steel bench, which will be fine. So, but you want, so we'll measure, we'll put a point, and then we'll go around and make sure that all are at the same height, so the blades are the same, and then we'll bend the blade up or down accordingly. So this blade's spinning off bottom, so we want a little more bite at the beginning. So we're going to open up the leading edge about 1 degree. Here's another thing that you want to take into example. You can't repitch any prop anywhere. So you can pitch this up, you know, about 1.5 degrees or 2, or down 1.5 degrees or 2, depending on where it was pitched originally. Going more than that, you'll end up creating creases in the blade. So, you know, what Scat Track does is they have certain castings, and then they pitch accordingly up or down to get the blade they want. So, you know, just because you have, let's say this was a 614, you know, we couldn't turn this into a 1018. Like, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to bend this to that. You're going to end up needing to replace the prop. So you can only go a certain amount, but normally 1 degree or 2 in both directions is enough to do what you need to do. So, but I really just wanted to go through, you know, a Scat Track prop pitch is not the same as a Solus. Also, the different leading edge designs, you know, the swirl design, or Solus now calls it the Concord design, is designed more for bottom end to give a little extra bite. This is the older flat pitch style that a lot of, you know, older vintage skis have. Also works. You can also, depending on how long the blade is, you can sometimes modify these accordingly. You know, and when they're beat up, I'll actually put them in a positioner and recut all 3 perfect and then start over, which we can also do. So, you know, repitching, no problem. The other thing you want to pay attention to is the size. You know, if they're starting to get loose inside the wear ring, send it out to somebody like Impros or Scat Track or somebody like that, where they will actually build it back up with weld and then remachine and bend everything accordingly, and you'll end up with like a brand new prop. So let's move this over. So we're going to go up 1 degree on each leading blade. So we're going to move over to the vise and start tweaking on the blade. So now, I actually learned this a long time ago from Whamilton's Customs. But what I do is I take either painter's tape or I use duct tape, and I just put it over the jaws so I'm not marking the blade. We're going to be increasing the pitch, so we're going to be bending each blade out a little bit. So I just lightly clench on it, and then you're not going crazy. Remember, we're only going up 1 degree. There we go. All right, now we'll go to the next. And on each one, I re-tighten the adjustable wrench. And we're doing very little. It's easier to bend a little than a lot and go back than bend too much and have to bring it back. All right. We'll do this one, and after we do this one, what I'll end up doing is I'll end up numbering each blade. So that way, when I check them, I can go off, okay, well, we need a little more on this. This one's good. And that way, we know exactly how to keep track with everything. All right. Grab marker. So we'll go 3, 2, 1. Do them away a little more so that way when we go back to it. Let's check over here. Place down a little just to keep it flat. This is just temporary to see how much I did. It's going to go on the table to be accurate. Well, we got close to 9 on that one. One second. Check this on the table real quick. Wow. All right. Alright, so now we're going to check where we're at. So now the leading, almost 9, almost 9. So all of them are a hair short of 9. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a mark on the blade so we know we're all about even where we're checking. Alright, so these two are low. This one's where we set it at number 3. So when we go to here, we're going to bend 2 and 1 up a little more than we do 3. And hopefully on this next one, we'll get pretty close to where we want to be. So, but it's really just bend small amounts until you get it. And it's easier to do little amounts to get it right on the nose than do a big amount and then kind of try to work backwards. Alrighty. Let's go back over here. So this is a low one. Alright. Another low one. And it's hard to describe, but you can feel it as you bend it, and just go gentle. I've had some blades come to me that you can tell people were monkeying with them, that you can see like a crease right in the blade. You know, you're just kind of bending this to make the angle follow. You don't want any sharp creases in anything, or it's going to impede water flow, which kind of defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do here. And then as the tape gets messed up, just replace it so that you're not marking up the impeller. Now this is a freestyle prop that I'm working on, and he's not worried about the top end, but you know, if you were working for top end, if you want more RPM, you would lessen the angle, and if you want more top speed, you'd increase the angle. So by making it a steeper angle, you're going to get more thrust, but it's going to require more from the engine. You know, if you go too steep, you're just not going to have the horsepower to turn it. So it's kind of a middle ground that you got to play with, and that's also where you end up. You could pitch it steeper and then bore the nozzle to get some RPM back. Check what this looks like now. Let's see what we look like. The other nice thing with the Watcon degree wheels that he has is it's in two different graduations, so it's from 8 to 14 degrees and then 15 to 25, so that way the lines aren't super close. Other companies make this one, which goes from 5 to 29 degrees, but they're all next to each other, so this is a Torrent one. Both work great. I find I prefer this one, but I believe they're both around the same price. Alright, so we are perfectly at 9. Just under 9. Perfectly at 9. So number 1 looks a little bit low. Let's check here. 1 touches. Number 3 does not. Touches. Number 2 touches. So we just got to bring up number 1 a smidge, and this prop is golden. Alrighty, so now we're just going to touch up the number 1 blade, which just has to come up the smallest amount. Just check this over here real quick. Perfect. Alright, let me bring the camera back over. Alright, so now, if you notice, I'll take a picture and I'll show you, but all three are now 9. And when you take this pointer and you set it to the same spot on each blade, it exactly touches the same spot on each blade, which is what you want, because although they can all be 9 degrees, they could be, 9 degrees at different planes. So we want them all 9 degrees at the same plane. So what I'll end up doing now is I'll end up scribing in here what the prop actually is, and I'll scribble that out. So the same thing would be done to the bottom. So, if we wanted more pitch, we would bend this down. If we'd want less pitch, we'd bend it in. And it would be the same exact thing with this. It really doesn't take any special tools. In all honesty, with a gauge like this, you can check it pretty close, but I'd recommend hitting John up at Watcon. I'll put a link down below to this pitch gauge. John's just a buddy of mine, so I'm not getting paid for this. It's just the tools I use, and I like sharing guys just like me that make great parts for the industry and help people out. He's a cool guy, and he makes tools that make jobs like this easy, because years ago it would be figure out exactly how many thousandths equaled whatever, and I would do it with a height gauge, and it was a massive pain in the butt. This way makes it much quicker and easier. So as always, guys, I hope you liked the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, everybody, Happy New Year, and thanks for watching.